A few years ago, I met a woman named Marcy who had a bright smile and a contagious laugh. She had a teenage daughter from a previous relationship named Tessa. When I first met Tessa, she was 17, awkward, funny, always either lost in a book or sneakily grabbing the last slice of pizza when she thought no one was watching. Marcy and I quickly developed a strong connection, and within a year, we moved in together. To my surprise, Tessa soon warmed up to me. One day, she unexpectedly called me Pops, and I almost teared up over my coffee. I never intended to replace her father. I just wanted to be there for her. She shared with me the ups and downs of school, her worries about college, and her dream of opening a bakery that specialized in mini cakes, which she affectionately called cup-offies. Over time, she truly became like a daughter to me, even though we weren't related by blood. Her biological father, Keith, had long been absent. He showed up briefly with a guitar and big dreams, then disappeared with a DUI and an excuse for avoiding child support. For years later, Tessa graduated college, and I couldn't have been prouder. It felt like I was about to burst. By then, Marcy and I were engaged, and as a combined graduation and early wedding gift, I decided to buy Tessa a small starter home in a charming neighborhood. Yes, I put the house in her name. Yes, I understand how that might sound now. When I gave her the keys, she cried. When I gave it to her, she said she'd never forget what I did and called me her real dad. Marcy was radiant, and it felt like I had finally created the family I always dreamed of. Then Keith showed up again, like an unwelcome raccoon at a barbecue, carrying nothing but apologies, wearing a flannel tied around his waist, and spouting nonsense about reconnecting. I wasn't thrilled, but maybe people change, maybe they grow up, maybe that raccoon learns not to knock over the trash. Spoiler, he didn't. First, it was lunch with Tessa, then she started inviting him over. Soon, he was living there, not renting, not paying his share, just squatting like some sentimental barnacle. I brought it up carefully with Marcy. She got defensive, said he was her dad and she missed him, asked me to let it be. But I asked, why does he have to live there? She's 22, not 12. He's 48, not 18. This guy eats cereal straight from the box and thinks Bitcoin is a video game. She laughed. I didn't. Then everything fell apart. One night, I stopped by the house without warning, dropping off a vintage cake stand for Tessa's coffee setup. Keith answered the door shirtless, holding a half-eaten chicken leg, and said, "Yo." Then I heard Tessa from inside. "Can you not just text next time?" "No, Dad. No thanks. Not even a hi." It hit me like a punch. I went home stunned and told Marcy what happened. She sighed and said, "I knew this would upset you, but he's trying, and she wants a relationship with him. Maybe you need to step back." Step back. After everything I did, helping raise her, giving her a house, that was when I realized they no longer saw me as family. I was just a wallet with legs and decent cooking skills. So, I did what any hurt, blindsided, passive-aggressive, tech-savvy man would do. I checked the deed. Turns out, the house was in Tessa's name, but I still held a quiet second mortgage, and the utilities were under my name. I cut the power, then the Wi-Fi, then filed a lien based on undue emotional manipulation. My lawyer got creative. Shout out to Rick. Eventually, I reclaimed the property on a technicality, because the property taxes weren't switched out of my name. Keith thought you could just Venmo the government. I sold the house, used the money to buy a boat, and named it Boundaries. As for Marcy and Tessa, I sent a letter. No yelling, no cursing, just, "You made your choice, I made mine. Enjoy Keith's cereal." They haven't contacted me since. Last I heard, Keith was live on Facebook arguing with a local Starbucks about almond milk prices. Me. I'm doing fine, sailing on boundaries toward peace. Living on a boat wasn't the dream at first. I'm no Hemingway. I don't smoke cigars, I get seasick if I sneeze too hard, and once I called the Coast Guard because I couldn't figure out how to anchor. But boundaries became therapy on the water. There's something healing about being unreachable. No buzzing phones, no passive-aggressive texts, no "can we talk?" Messages followed by silence, which is emotional terrorism in my book. I took a few months off work since I freelance in IT, and could work anywhere. I read old books, learned to cook without a microwave, even tried yoga, which left me walking like a marionette for a week. Then I got an email with the subject line, "Just talk." It was Tessa. She wrote, "I know you're mad. I know we hurt you. I didn't realize how much until it was too late. Can we talk?" I didn't reply for 2 weeks, not out of cruelty but because I wasn't sure I could keep from saying something painful. Eventually, curiosity won. We met at a coffee shop. She looked different, older, a little less sparkle, more shadows beneath her eyes. For the first time in forever, she wasn't smiling like she had a secret. "I was stupid," she said before I even had my coffee. "No arguments here," I told her. "Forgiveness is sacred, but I'm still me." She sighed. "He let me down again. Left without a word. Took some of my stuff, even my stand mixer." That hurt. Not the stand mixer. That man was truly hopeless. "And Mom?" I asked. She looked down. "She went with him. Said she owed him another chance. I think she was embarrassed and mad that you took the house." "I didn't take it," I said. "I just stopped letting people treat it like a free Airbnb with 0 stars." She laughed, that half-snort old Tessa laugh. For a moment, I almost forgot everything. Then she said, "I didn't come to ask for anything. I just wanted you to know I see it now. What you were trying to do. Who you were to me." I stared at her, wanting to be angry, wanting to say it was too little, too late. But honestly, I was just tired of carrying resentment like a heavy gym bag I never signed up to carry. "Thank you," I said. We talked for an hour about life, about Keith, who's apparently off the grid in Idaho after a bad crypto deal, and hanging with some guy named Smiley, and about how hard it is to forgive people who don't apologize. Then she handed me a keychain shaped like a tiny boat. On the back it said, "For the man who taught me what a real dad looks like, even if I didn't see it until he was gone." I nearly choked on my almond milk latte. We're not where we once were, maybe we never will be, but now she calls sometimes, sends pictures of her dog, asks how life on the boat is, and even came to visit Boundaries once, only to get chased by a seagull. We don't talk about that day. As for Marcy, last I heard, she and Keith tried launching a food truck called Soul Chow. It folded in 2 weeks. Something about unrefrigerated shrimp and a Yelp war. Do I miss her sometimes? Yeah. But I've learned loving someone doesn't mean you have to let them stay. You can wish them well and still lock the door behind them. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got dinner to make and a storm to beat before sunset. And hey, if you ever meet someone who calls themselves a visionary entrepreneur, but sleeps on an air mattress and eats cheese straight from the bag, maybe check the property deed twice.